A tiny product workflow for April 13th, 2022. Yeah, hey everybody, this is Ian from Mindful Marketplace, and welcome back to A Tiny Revolution. This is our brand new publishing platform for authors, artists, makers, marketers, creators, really anybody who wants to make a big impact through tiny products in 2022 and beyond. All right, so today's really quick workflow is really, in a sense, was created for a Gumroad style product, but you can actually tweak this in a very simple and creative and elegant way to do a PDF style, ebook style product very quickly. This is really a great strategy for those of you who have existing content, as you'll hear in a second. I'm going to cover this in under 5 minutes. So if you're interested in creating tiny products and don't know where to begin, sit back and listen in. All right, so step number one is, let's say, again, you're using Gumroad. You want to create a new Gumroad product, price it. You make it free, you can charge for it, whatever works for your strategy here. Step number two, you're going to set the product to link externally rather than fulfilling the product on Gumroad directly, like giving folks access to a file. Thereafter, you're actually going to set the product to link externally. Step number three, you're going to send the people who purchase to the external URL. Maybe it's a audio like this, maybe it's a blog post, maybe even it's a series of, content that you've curated or created to help, sort of light a lamp or pop a pane or solve a problem or identify an issue, et cetera, et cetera. It doesn't really matter. It only matters what works for you. As a quick aside, before we get into number four, visit partners.mindfulmarketplace.com. That's our product community. I tell you that not for you to buy anything, but simply to see how we're doing this in our own brand and business, because I think transparency is important. And people often ask, where can we see your stuff rather than just listening to tutorials? So go and check our course community out. There are 25 plus courses. There are probably another 20 digital downloads, many of which are using some variation of this theme. All right, step number four, you now have a name and email address, right? So once people have purchased or downloaded this Gumroad product and they're being redirected to this external URL, you have their email address, right? I mean, you now are building a list, which is part of the point. Step number five, which is really not a step, it's just a philosophy. You can now follow up with them on other products, other services. You can set an email automation sequence. You can upsell other things. Upsell is really not a phrase I like, but you can sort of add, bundle, kind of offer other things that people who just downloaded the thing that they just did might also be interested in. And there are various permutations to this, but we're going to break here and go into another way of doing this using another tool that you can also integrate with Gumroad. You can use something called beacon.by, which is free, I believe, for new users. I actually bought a lifetime license to Beacon years ago. So it's just a phenomenal way of generating this sort of content because it allows you to pick a URL within the dashboard and it will generate the content for you. So you essentially, the steps are, number one, you pick a template or style of product. They call them lead magnets, and there's also templates that you can save that are branded to you, and you essentially create a PDF using existing content that you have by essentially entering the URL into the URL field, and Beacon will generate the ebook or the workbook or the checklist or the workflow that you want predicated on the template that you picked, and you can add like questions, like workbook style questions, like homework assignments, really nice prominent calls to action if you want someone to do something who's purchased the book, or purchase the workbook or purchase the checklist, whatever it is that you're doing here, it allows you to actually drive them to another offer within the product itself. You can actually, because the calls to action, again, a phrase I don't really like, but it works, are really prominent. They're really nicely done. The buttons are really big. The other thing you can do is embed content like this, right? So I can embed this sort of content within a Beacon product, like a video or an audio, and essentially take all my blog posts that live in the world and just create, printable digital products that are branded to our Mindful Marketplace community, that look good, that are using templates that are well styled, and they look very professional. And you're just repurposing and reusing existing content to build a list, to sell products, to make money, and you don't really need any elaborate funnel or plugins or any sort of extensive or expensive tools to do this. Again, I think Beacon is free for new users. Certainly there's a price to pay for Beacon on the higher end. I, again, am a customer of that, but I've had other clients sign up for Beacon for free and get, I believe, everything they need without needing to upgrade. All right, and again, you can use the same approach to recruit affiliates, to upsell other offers, as I've said, to expand your brand laterally. You can create a marketplace of your own products, your own content, your own resources using either one of these approaches. You can, step one, use the Gumroad approach and just redirect everybody after they've, kind of signed up for one of your courses. You can redirect them to the content that lives elsewhere, right? It could be a YouTube video, it could be a podcast, it could be a private podcast, it could be a PDF. It doesn't matter. And you can just create 10 products out of 10 different blog posts or 10 different content types and just redirect folks post-purchase, and now you're building a list, right? So to get access to that content that you already have in the world, they're signing up for something that allows you to facilitate a community, a conversation, and a sequence of messages that can be set automatically to follow up with the folks who join your list. All right, or you can use the beacon.by approach. Beacon.by is the URL for the Beacon tool. And again, it's just a great way of generating great looking, workbooks, checklists, ebooks, resource libraries, all of that stuff on a bootstrap budget, and making it look like you have a very structured way of giving your content or publishing your content in the world rather than just blog posts. Okay, hopefully this has been helpful. If you're interested in joining our community, you can check out the link below. If you're interested in working with me to create a tiny product, get in touch, mindfulmarketplace@gmail.com. Or just, if you're in our community, leave a comment or say hi, and I'm happy to discuss more with you there. Teach what you know, do what you love, wake up the world with your work. Thank you as always so much for listening, and have a wonderful day.